Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. It is a pleasure to speak in this much-needed debate on farming, especially as I'm the proud representative of what I believe to be the most rural Labour constituency in the country, although my honourable friend, the member for Mid-Bedfordshire, has spent the last hour hotly disputing that claim. It is crucial that my local farming communities know that I hear their concerns and priorities and that I am fighting for them in this House. Because despite of the claims of the party opposite to be the voice of rural communities, the reality is that many farmers are feeling shortchanged by this Conservative government and, like the rest of the country, are desperate for change. Now, the Prime Minister said a few weeks ago that farmers don't do it for the money. They do it for the love, conjuring an image of a nostalgic artisanal age rather than the reality that we should be proud of, a serious, powerful, £14 billion industry that is vital to our national health, our national security and our national heritage. Farmers do love what they do, but farms cannot run on love alone. And since 2017, over 6,000 agricultural businesses have paid the price and collapsed due to Tory failure to provide the support that they deserve. A farmer in Britain today endures insufficient flooding support, uncompetitive prices, botched trade deals and labour supply challenges, and as consolation they are left with the bitter encouragement not to worry because the Prime Minister knows that they love what they do. It is not good enough, it has never been good enough, and it is a desperate legacy of 14 years of Conservative government. We need to turn the page in this country and provide a real offer for farming communities. Now, in his speech 2 weeks ago, the Prime Minister did say one thing that I think rang true. And there is certainly a first time for everything in regard to that. He said one reason farmers do what they do is that they feel a responsibility. But I don't think he quite realises how deeply that responsibility is felt by farmers in my constituency. Now, I mentioned in a previous debate in Westminster Hall, and I will continue to mention it until I'm blue in the face, that farmers in my constituency who live between Wistow, Cawood and Kelfield work every day to hold back hundreds of acres of floodwater on their land, year on year, to stop it reaching people's doorsteps in Selby. They are losing hundreds of thousands of pounds. Their crops are being drowned on what is prime arable land, and they receive zero compensation for doing so. In one case, a farmer has found that not only is he holding back floodwater on hundreds of acres, but that the Environment Agency is in fact pumping more floodwater onto his fields from their floodwater infrastructure that has reached dangerous levels of capacity. And he asked me, what should he do? Continue to have his livelihood ruined, or let the water reach those houses and ruin people's homes? If someone could tell me in what universe this is a logical way for flood management to be carried out in this country in 2024, piling responsibility onto farmers whose sector is facing a mental health crisis, then I would be eager to hear their answer. In such grave circumstances, farmers in my constituency deserve clarity. And I would welcome the Minister to provide an update on how discussions are progressing with the RPA on the Farming Recovery Fund and to what extent Farming Recovery Fund eligibility will go beyond that provided in the Flood Recovery Framework. Because I cannot begin to express how unacceptable it would be for Yorkshire farmers to be excluded from the help that they so urgently need after enduring such a hard winter and having protected communities like mine in Selby from flooding for so long. However, with all this considered, it remains the case that longer-term support for those farmers storing floodwater is needed. Support which goes beyond what the FRF can provide and which recognises the inherent public good that farmers do in protecting homes from risk. As with so many of the crises this government has presided over, we are left with a very similar challenge: to take immediate action to counteract the freefall that they have created, whilst also producing long-term change that is so desperately needed to provide a longer-term future for the farming industry. Some of these things could be done in the very near future. The Prime Minister said he would implement an annual statutory food security index when parliamentary time allows. Now, I don't wish to be rude, but this government is not presiding over an era of unflagging legislative vigour. If it cares about the nation's food security, it should get on with it and legislate for it now. Or if they are not up to the job, we have a Labour Party committed to doing right by farmers. We on these benches will happily step up and take the action that we need. A Labour government would pursue a new veterinary agreement with the EU, back the NFU's Buy British campaign to source 50% of food in the public sector from British farmers, simplify the ELM scheme so that more farmers can enjoy economic and environmental benefits, and encourage DEFRA to meet its own departmental spending ambitions in a way that provides value for money to the British taxpayer. And most important for my local area, a Labour government would be committed to creating a flood resilience task force to stop the buck passing between the government, the EA, the IDB and water companies, to ensure that farmers know that when bad weather strikes, there is a joined-up plan to have their backs that a Labour government will stand foursquare behind. Farmers in my constituency need to know that they won't just be admired for their work by this government. Instead, they will be remunerated fairly for what they do and given the support, tools and respect they need, not just to survive, but to thrive. And I look forward to fighting alongside the farmers of Selby and Ainsty to achieve this every single step of the way. Thank you.